Dear Madam and my dear friends, hello to everyone. Today we will examine the methods of coping with stress under two main headings. These two main topics are emotion-focused coping skills and problem-focused coping skills. We aim to prepare a sufficiently understandable presentation enriched with visual for you. I hope it will be an enjoyable and instructive presentation for all of you. Stress arises when individuals perceive a discrepancy between the physical or psychological demands of a situation and the resources of his or her biological, psychological, or social systems. There are many ways of coping with stress. Their effectiveness depends on the type of stressor, the particular individual, and the circumstances. For example, if you think about the way your friends deal with stressor like exams, you will see a range of different coping responses. Some people will pace around or tell you how worried they are. Others will revise or pester their teacher for clues. Lazarus and Fogman suggested there are two types of coping responses: emotion focused and problem focused. Let's talk about emotionally focused coping skill first. Emotion focused coping involves regulating your feelings and emotional response to the problem instead of addressing the problem. First, a look at what this coping style is good for. Emotion focused coping skills help you process and work through unwanted or painful emotions and reactions. In other words, this approach helps you manage your emotions rather than outside circumstances. This approach won't help you solve a problem directly, but it's a great tool to have for dealing with stressful situations you can't change or control. When you can manage your emotional response to a given situation more effectively, you may feel somewhat better about what's happening or at least more equipped to handle it. Research from 2015 trusted source suggests people who tend to use emotion-focused coping skills may be more resilient to stress and enjoy greater overall wellness.
Hello everyone. Let's talk about emotion focused coping skills. Meditation. Meditation helps you learn to acknowledge and sit with all of your thoughts and experience, even the difficult ones. The key goal of a meditation. Mindfulness to recognize thoughts as they come up, accept them, and let them go without stewing over them or judging yourself for having them. You can practice mindfulness anytime, anywhere, and it won't cost you anything. It may feel a little awkward, even unhelpful at first, and it can take some time before it feels natural. If you stick with, you'll generally begin seeing some benefits before long. If you are new to meditation, get started by learning more about different types or trying this easy body scan exercise. Journaling. Journaling is a great way to sort through and come to terms with challenging emotions. When something goes wrong, you might experience a lot of complicated, conflicting feelings. They might feel jumbled up inside you, making the thought of sorting them out exhausting. Or maybe you are not even sure how to name what you are feeling with words. Exhausting and confusing are valid feelings and can be good starting point for putting pen to paper. Sometimes writing down your feelings, no matter how messy or complex they are, is the first step in working through them. You might eventually find that journaling offers a type of emotional catharsis as you purge them from your mind and into your journal. positive thinking. Optimism won't solve problems alone, but it can certainly boost your emotional wellness. It's important to understand that optimistic or positive thinking does not involve ignoring your problems. It's about giving challenges a positive spin and finding pockets of joy to help you get through them. To add more positive things to your life, try building yourself up with positive self-talk instead of talking down to yourself. Recognizing your success instead of focusing on failures. Logging off mistakes. Reminding yourself you can always try again. All these things are easier said than done, but with a bit of practice, they'll start to feel more natural. Forgiveness. It's easy to focus on feeling of injustice or unfairness when someone wrongs you or does something unkind. Most of time, you can't do anything to change the hurt you have sustained. In other words, the damage is done and there is nothing to do but let go and move forward. Forgiveness can help you let go of hurt and begin healing from it. Of course, forgiveness doesn't always happen easily. It can take some time to come to terms with your pain before you feel able to forgive. Practicing forgiveness can benefit your emotional wellness in a number of ways. You might notice reduced stress and anger, increased compassion, greater empathy, stronger interpersonal relationship. Thanks for the listening.
Reframing. When you reframe a situation, you look at it from another perspective. This can help you consider the bigger picture instead of getting stuck on little details, as difficult or unpleasant as those details sometimes are. Say, for example, your relationship has been struggling over the past few months, primarily because you and your partner haven't had much time to do things together or communicate about problems. Suddenly, you lose your job and find that you are now spending plenty of times at home. Not working is not ideal, of course, but for the moment, there's nothing you can do to change that situation. Instead of letting frustration and boredom build up, you can look at the bright side of the situation. You can have plenty of time to reconnect with your partner and strengthen your relationship. Talking it out. Burying or pushing away negative emotion usually doesn't do much to improve them. You might not actively notice these unwanted emotions if you work very hard at keeping them hidden, but they do eventually tend to resurface. In the meantime, they can trickle out in the form of mood changes, emotionally distress, physical symptoms like muscle tension or head pains. It's generally a good idea to talk about your feelings to any other involved in these situations. They may not even realize they had an impact on you unless you tell them. Communicating your difficulties won't always resolve them, but if an approach to resolution doesn't exist, you are more likely to discover it together. Talking about your emotions to a trusted loved one can also help you feel better, especially when there is no good solution to your problem. Friends and family can provide social and emotional support by listening with emphasis and validating your feelings. Working with a therapist. Some serious concern can cause a lot of distress, especially when you can't do anything to improve your situation. Maybe you are going through a breakup, facing a life-threatening health concern, or dealing with grief. There is not much you can do to change these circumstances and dealing with the painful emotion that came up on your own. A trusted mental health professional can help you manage emotional distress by offering guidance on any of these emotions. False coping strategies above. They also provide support that is more specializing tailored on your situation. In an ideal world, you will be able to face all your problems head on and solve them right away. In reality, though many challenges are beyond our control, emotions force coping can help you weather these challenges and build resilience. Maladaptive coping skill, easing, use of drugs, eating disorder in children and adolescents, anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, binge eating disorder, functioning of family members, suicide, their individuals. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Problem focused coping skills. Problem focused coping targets the causes of stress in practical ways which tackles the problem or stressful situation that is causing stress, consequently, directly reducing the stress. Problem focused strategies aim to remove or reduce the cause of the stressor, including problem solving, time management, obtaining instrumental social support. Critical evaluation. In general, problem focused coping is best, as it removes the stressor, so deals with the root cause of the problem, providing a long term solution. Problem focused strategies are successful in dealing with stressors such as discrimination, human immunodeficient virus infection, and diabetes. However, it is not always possible to use problem-focused strategies. For example, when someone dies, problem-focused strategies may not be very helpful for the bride. Dealing with the feeling of loss requires emotion-focused coping. Problem-focused approach will not work in any situation where it is beyond the individual's control to remove the source of stress. They work best when the person can control the source of stress. It is not a productive method for all individuals. For example, not all people are able to take control of a situation or perceived a situation as controllable. For example, optimistic people who tend to have positive expectations of the future are more likely to use problem-focused strategies, whereas pessimistic individuals are more inclined to use emotion-focused strategies. As the best way to deal with stress, we first need to believe that it is not an enemy that needs to be dealt with. Thank you for listening.